UFC Vegas 79 just recently wrapped up, and I'm going to recap the entire card. I'll start with the first fight of the night and then work my way up to the main event. So make sure you guys smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, turn the post notifications on, and make sure to share the video as well. I am using StreamYard instead of OBS Studio, so things might look slightly different, and I just want to let you guys know ahead of time why, because OBS is glitching out for me and I got to get it fixed here. But hey, let's start off the breakdown. First and foremost, we had Tamires Vidal, Montserrat Rendon to start the card. I don't want to spend too much time on this because it was an okay fight at best. Vidal was looping a lot of shots and throwing hard leg kicks. Rendon Connor with some straight shots. She was also catching Vidal's kicks and landing takedowns, and her surmounting a fair amount of control time in the fight is what got her the decision win. I thought she was definitely the winner at the end. I know it was a split decision, but to me, it looked like it was Rendon 2-1. Pretty clean. I don't know. Vidal's game is just underwhelming to me. I thought she was maybe a little bit crisper with the hands. I don't know. I guess the win she had last time out in her debut could have just been a lackluster opponent. Rendon came in shredded, in great shape, was able to get her down a few times in control, and that ultimately was a major difference maker in the fight. And she was able to beat Tamires Vidal. So respect to Montserrat Rendon. First fight of the night goes her way. And let's keep running up. Let's get to the next fight. Ladies fight again. Close decision. It was Mizuki Inoue and Hannah Goldy. Not a fight that I go back and rewatch. There was okay striking moments for both. Goldy's got a great physique. Mizuki Inoue, I thought she got enough control time in the clinch to probably win and some on the ground, but this fight was mad close. It was one of those matchups that women's fight especially, you could have flipped a coin at the end. I wouldn't be overly shocked if Goldy had gotten it, though I thought Inoue took 2 rounds of the 3. I thought she had deserved it. It was still too close for comfort. So for me, I was like, hey, flip a damn coin, whatever side it goes on, it is what it is. But Mizuki getting it done, I do think was a deserving decision. But like you ask me her ceiling in the weight class after this win over Hannah Goldy, I think it's a lot lower than I thought it might be after this fight. So that's my real thoughts on this one. It kind of, even in victory, somewhat hurt the stock. Now, granted, time off, she can come back. Sure, she was out 3 years, but I'm not overly impressed. Next fight was Mo Usman versus Jake Collier. You know, Jake Collier gave a really gutsy effort in loss here. I mean, he really brought it to Mo Usman and tried pretty damn hard. It's just Usman, when it came down to it, was still landing punches on the feet, had a real strong chin, and late secured the fight-winning takedown. I had it 1-1 probably going into the third. You can argue 2-0 Usman, and that's why 130-27 there. But Collier buckled him early in the fight, and he had striking moments for sure. I gave Collier the first round. Mo Usman with the late takedown, getting on top and controlling. Best thing that could have happened to him, and he ends up getting the win here over Jake Collier, who now is 4 losses in a row. And I actually got to say, it looks like Jake Collier did put a lot of work into this camp. He came in at 254.5. He had visibly less body fat than before, but Mo Usman, when it came down to it, had the strength edge. And even with the boxing, he was landing strikes, and he wins the fight with a late grappling onslaught, deserving W. Mo Usman's pretty decent, man. He's kind of coming into his own because he legitimately beat Jake Collier with no argument. And Collier's been in there with some decent guys like Arlovsky, like Martin Boudet. It was a nice W for Mohammed Usman, especially an in-shape Jake Collier. This fight here, Jacob Malkoun versus Cody Brundage, just throw it in the fucking never want to think about again type moments. Look at the strike stats. 3 strikes for Cody Brundage, 44 strikes to Jacob Malkoun. How does he lose? He elbows Brundage in the back of the head. Brundage, many will say, wanted out of the fight. I mean, realistically, it was a clean shot to the back of the head. But the moment that it happened, it didn't seem like he was overly hurt. But then when the doctor got involved, it's like he had been hit by a sledgehammer in the back of the head. He was done. He was holding it. He did what he needed to do. It was a pretty certain loss for Cody Brundage because Malkoun was really starting to kick his ass. And he did the right thing as far as keeping his UFC contract off of a win. It's hard to cut a guy. I mean, maybe they still cut him, but I don't know. Malkoun was beating him up. Malkoun was on his back, pounding him out, and Brundage had nothing he could do. And then he got elbowed in the back of the head. takes the foul, says he's good to go. Now he gets his win. I'd assume, does he get his win money too? And he goes from being on a 3-fight losing streak to now he's got a 1-fight win streak, even though it wasn't a legit win. It probably saves him from getting cut from the UFC. Are the UFC going to cut him after an illegal strike, got him a DQ loss or a DQ win rather? I don't think so. I think they'll keep him around. But if he would have lost by TKO in that same exact moment, it wasn't an illegal elbow, he's probably getting cut from the UFC with 4 losses in a row. Now he's still in. So give the guy a chance to make some money. Malkoun, it's unfortunate. He's got to be cognizant of his strikes, and he's got to be aware because he was on his way to a dominant finish. Mistakes cost all, and he lost the fight here. Unfortunate for Malkoun. Next fight, Tim Means, Andre Fialho. Holy shit, guys. Tim Means is a 39-year-old bad motherfucker because he brought the heat to Fialho, gave him nothing on the feet. Like, you could tell Fialho was not confident striking after Means had hurt him with that knee. There was moments where Fialho was throwing hard and really putting power into shots. But let me tell you, there were shots of desperation, not shots of confidence, because Tim Means had his fucking number the entire time, beat the shit out of him on the feet, stopped any grappling positions, had some success of his own, and then he got a pretty sick finish win, and Fialho's done. I mean, he's done for. Tim Means is a fucking monster still at 39. He was rocking Fialho with high kicks, ripping him with big punches. There was nothing Fialho could really do. I mean, he wung up a few power shots and found Tim Means' chin, but it didn't really do any damage. So Tim Means with a sick W put a display on Andre Fialho at 39 to show he's still here. He snaps a 3-fight losing streak. He pushes Fialho's losing streak to 4. Fialho's probably on his way out of the UFC now. Next fight was the featured prelim. Miles Johns, Dan Argueta. You know, I'll tell you, Dan Argueta early in the fight had Miles Johns back, and those were some worrisome moments. And he's a really good pressure wrestler, like a chain wrestling type style. But what Dan Argueta doesn't have is a ton of striking ability. He has toughness for sure, but he doesn't really bring any threat to his opponents on the feet whatsoever. So Miles Johns is able to wing these bombs at him, and a fucking good amount of them landed right to Dan Argueta's face. Dan Argueta's got a good chin, though. He eats these shots well. He was visibly beaten up in the 3rd round, and that definitely was a convincing way to finish the fight from Miles Johns, who gets it on Dan Argueta. I definitely scored him the winner, and I think he deserved it. 29-28 kind of made more sense than 30-27, but Johns was the one throwing the more damaging strikes. You can look at the stats there, right? Significant strikes 43-33, but like if you actually broke those down into strikes that did real damage as opposed to strikes that just landed cleanly, it's all Miles Johns. He's the one that did more damage with his strikes. It was power shots that he's landing, whereas Argueta's touching him with punches, but you know, nothing out of this fucking world crazy. You know, no major moments where I'm like, wow, Dan Argueta's actually got a chance to put him out. He touches him like light shots. Whereas with fucking Miles Johns, boom, 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 he was cracking him with heat. So good win for Miles Johns, man. I was happy for the guy. Wrestling defense held up, grappling defense held up, and he was able to outstrike Dan Argueta. Even though he's dealing with a ton of pressure, he still beat a real savage. Let's jump to the main card. If you guys haven't yet, make sure you smash that like button. And let's talk about the main card opener. Charles Jourdain and Ricardo Ramos ended way faster than most people would have anticipated. 0 strikes landed for Ramos in the whole fight. I'll be honest, I didn't even realize that until looking at the stats right here. Ramos was controlling a bit on the ground after getting Jourdain on his back, but Jourdain was fighting for these guillotines. And like, it looked like at one moment, Ramos almost had a Von Flue position ready to go, and he was ready to unload it, but he didn't. He let go of it. But he was on top of Jourdain. They're kind of moving on the ground, exchanging different positions and switching. But for the most part, it's Ramos on top, trying to pass that guard, trying to pass to the mount, whatever. Trying to get out of just a simple half guard, trying to get into a more dominant position. We end up getting back to the guard, and Charles Jourdain's attacking this neck. He was all over this guillotine, but this time, he has it locked in. Ramos can't get out. We get a quick tap. 3 minutes in. Done. Charles Jourdain is known for his stand-up, showcased his striking beautifully in this fight. I could not be happier for Charles Jourdain to get this win here. It was a needed win for his professional fighting career because he needed to show that he was more than just a striker. And Ramos is a good Brazilian prospect, and making easy work of him, that earns Jourdain a big fight. So who does Jourdain call out right after? Let me sip this water and then I'll tell you. Jourdain makes the call out, the perfect call out. Cub Swanson in Toronto. 100% yes. Book that fight. Charles Jourdain and Cub Swanson is a guaranteed banger. I feel like it could be one of the crazier fights ever. Both guys are solid on the ground, black belts in jiu-jitsu. Both guys known for dangerous stand-up games. I cannot wait to see how those two collide. Yes, give Charles Jourdain a fun fight. Give him a big name. Give him the side of Cub Swanson. Double thumbs up on that matchup. That's what I'm picking as the next fight for him. Yes, please. Let's keep running up. Next fight. Bryan Battle versus AJ Fletcher, the lock of the week cash, baby, by sub. Hey, I predicted the sub, man. Bryan Battle pulls it off by submission in this fight here with AJ Fletcher. I'll tell you something, though. In the first round, I was very worried for Bryan Battle. He was getting touched up with Fletcher in the boxing and having a deal with the significantly shorter guy, confidently closing the distance on him and landing punches, landing kicks, too. He was attacking the leg nicely. Bryan Battle got dropped in the clinch with a clean elbow by AJ Fletcher. And I won't lie to you, I kind of gasped in the moment. I was fearful. I felt the anxiety spike up because I'm like, holy shit. The lock of the week, Bryan Battle, Ultimate Fighter winner, 4-1 in the UFC, just got dropped by AJ Fletcher, who's, half a foot shorter than him and has 10 inches less reach. How did this happen? Well, Bryan Battle put his shit together. First round finishes. He lost the first round, but he was back. He was in it. Some grappling exchanges in the second, clinch control, body, knees, good body teep kicks throughout the whole fight for Bryan Battle. He attacked the body well. And then when he was able to get into the position on the ground to lock things up, any position on the ground, really, but when he threatens from the top position on the ground, you have a guy like AJ Fletcher who's really strong. And AJ being a shorter guy, Bryan Battle at times was like looking for a straight arm lock or an Americana. Obviously was unable to get anything like that, but worked towards getting the back of AJ Fletcher, locks in the perfect rear naked choke and gets to finish. AJ Fletcher forced to tap out. Bryan Battle, lock of the week, gets it done. And he's talking like he wants to fight somebody ranked. He's saying everybody's hiding behind their rankings. I know he wants to fight Ian Gary. I don't know if he's ready for that fight, though. If AJ Fletcher's wobbling you a bit, closing the gap well, I just worry that somebody with the pure skill of a Ian Gary's, that's a scary matchup. I don't think he'll get an Ian Gary. I actually don't know who they're going to give Bryan Battle next because he's in a weird spot where, yes, he's 5-1 in the UFC. I mean, they just gave him AJ Fletcher, who in some aspects maybe is like a step down in competition. It's a similar step, honestly. Like it's a step to the left. Gabe Green, AJ Fletcher. AJ Fletcher put way better of a fight up than Gabe Green did. Maybe Gabe Green versus AJ Fletcher next. I'll vote for that matchup. That's what I know. I don't know who's next for Bryan Battle, but I think give Gabe Green AJ Fletcher, and I think Fletcher could potentially win that fight. He's 1-3 in the UFC now. I don't think he's a bad fighter, but a 67-inch reach and fighting at welterweight just doesn't go well. He has the reach of a guy that fights at 135 pounds. So if you can get down to 55, at least you can give yourself a better shot with guys that, for the most part are not going to be as tall and long as Bryan Battle, though they exist. At least they're not going to be as strong. They'll be thinner. Bryan Battle's strong, tall, and long. AJ Fletcher needs to get a little muscle off his frame, unfortunately. I think he's got to downsize. I think his best days would be at 155 pounds, not 170. So my vote, AJ Fletcher down a weight class. Bryan Battle, keep doing what you're doing. You look good. Got hurt early, scary, but still managed to win the fight. Strong grappling showcase. Good submissions, man. The strangles are real with him. Marina Rodriguez and Michelle Waterson-Gomez. Yeah, this was a one-sided ass whooping besides an early takedown for Michelle Waterson-Gomez. So the fight starts and Michelle Waterson-Gomez gets Rodriguez on the back right away. And I was like, holy shit, is Rodriguez about to get grinded out for 3 rounds by Michelle Waterson-Gomez? No, Rodriguez gets back up and delivers damage to Michelle Waterson. And her stand-up game looked really on point. It looked like in the first round, the fight was almost over. Blood coming down everywhere, knees inside, elbows inside, fast punch flurries in close. Marina Rodriguez was ripping Michelle Waterson to pieces. It was an absolute annihilation in the stand-up. Michelle Waterson was on that back foot, running away at points from Marina Rodriguez. She was getting hunted down. It was a beating. Doctor comes in, gives Michelle Waterson a little bit of a break. She gets to tie up a little bit and hold late to finish the first round. Then the second round ensues. And you know what? Michelle Waterson-Gomez did a good job of surviving as long as she could have, because she was trying to tie up a bit with Marina Rodriguez. And Rodriguez wasn't landing every strike. Waterson landed some right hands through the guard. But then Michelle Waterson-Gomez looks for a throw and gets herself mounted. And then Rodriguez is coming down with shots. She turns to her back, 3 more. Kerry Hatley says, no, fight over. Stoppage. Fair stoppage. It looked like a crime scene with Michelle Waterson, how much blood was coming down her face. Immediately lets out a shriek after the fight, a strong cry. She was heartbroken with the loss. At the end of the day, I didn't think this was a winnable matchup anyways. And then you have a Marina Rodriguez who looked like a woman on a mission. And she accomplished it. If that mission, which it definitely was to look impressive and beat the hell out of Michelle Waterson-Gomez, maybe the most clean beating on Michelle Waterson-Gomez ever, Marina Rodriguez was a badass in that fight. Good performance, and she shows why she's still a top contender. She sliced through Waterson-Gomez like fucking butter. Now, this one, Bryce Mitchell, Dan Ige. Bit of a robbery? Controversial decision. Let me tell you this. I picked Bryce Mitchell to win this fight. He was my prediction. So my take here is going to be based upon how the fights are now scored, which is damage. Dan Ige won the first round without an argument. So the 30-27 scorecard is BS. BS. Sure, late in the first round, Mitchell had some moments, but he was getting ripped up on the feet, and he had blood coming down from his eye in the first round. So Dan Ige, to me, gets the first. And now we get to the second round where things get a little trickier. But Dan Ige had a huge moment where he shut Bryce Mitchell's eye, and it was, damaged enough where the doctor's looking at it, and that doesn't win him the round. Isn't that the most significant strike of the entire fight? Dan Ige blew up Bryce Mitchell's eye. Now, Bryce Mitchell finished that round on top, and he's also finishing the round on the mount or on the back. He's in positions where it is extremely dominant. But from those spots, he didn't do significant damage. The biggest damaging moments in the first and second round were done by Dan Ige in the striking. Now, ultimately, if you look at the old way fights are scored, yeah, the full mount control can steal the rounds. But if damage is trumping all, it's not like Bryce Mitchell did more damage than Dan Ige, though dominant positions, certainly, and though impressive to be able to get to those positions and hold, they are not damaging moments. So that gives Bryce Mitchell the win. If we're doing a damage-based scoring, that's not how this one went. If damage is everything, Dan Ige did the most damage. First and second round, Dan Ige did the most damage. Third round, clearly a Bryce Mitchell win. He chain wrestled the hell out of Dan Ige, threatened with submission attempts, pepper with some ground and pound. Ended up finishing the fight still on the bottom, though, with Ige on top, but it didn't matter. Bryce won the third round. There's zero argument. Bryce Mitchell, third round, lock of the year. Absolute. He definitely lost the first, and I honestly thought that his eye getting blown up in the second, wouldn't that be the biggest moment? So if damage trumps all or not, what the fuck is going on? It's like the judges don't even know how they're scoring this thing. Wait, is damage trumping all? No. We're going to give it to the control time here. But there was a lot of damage done before that control. No, we'll go control. This fight, though, no, damage is everything. But this fighter ends up on top late. But damage is everything. Oh, fuck. Oh, my gosh. What the hell? It's not consistent. And I feel like Dan Ige and Bryce Mitchell, I can say, okay, do I understand the second round being scored towards Bryce? I guess slightly, yeah. I'm not going to say it's impossible to score it to him because he finished strong. But if damage trumps all, the most damaging moment was Dan Ige blowing up Bryce Mitchell's eye where it looked like a fucking crime scene. So I thought he won the first two rounds. And then the third round was definitely Bryce Mitchell, 29-28 Dan Ige. The fact that we didn't even have one judge score for Dan Ige pisses me off more than anything else. At least give a fucking split decision. At least give me some faith that somebody at least oh, maybe. But now you're giving it clearly unanimous Bryce, and I got a 30-27 in there. Doesn't make any fucking sense. It doesn't make any fucking sense. Whatever. It is what it is. Controversial scoring in the co-main event. And I picked Bryce Mitchell. I picked Bryce. I'm not doing it for my fucking ego. I'm not stroking it like, oh, I picked fucking Dan Ige. He should have won as a dog. No, I didn't. But I thought that he won the fight if damage trumps all. And I'm telling you how I see it. So it is what it is. We shall see. Let me know in the comments. I want to see some fucking arguments in the comments, actually. Let me know. Who won this fight? How did you score this fight? Does damage trump all or not? I want to know what the people are thinking. Let me know. Guys, let's jump to the main event. If you guys haven't yet, make sure you smash that like button. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe. Got a little different look for this recap show because OBS Studio is giving me problems. But, you know, if you watch the Fight Companions and the Late Night Live, you're used to this style of look right here. So, okay, let's talk this fight. We got Fiziev versus Gamrot. It sucked that it ended so badly, right? It sucked how it ended. It was super disappointing how it ended because Fiziev throws a really hard kick to Gamrot. Seems like his knee ripped apart. I don't know exactly what ripped apart, but there was some damage done. He lands on it, falls down, and Gamrot fucking jumps on him with ground and pound. Bit of an asshole move, but I get it. It's in the heat of the moment. He's in a fight. Still an asshole move. Your guy gets injured and you pound him out. But he wants to win for sure. So I understand. Still an asshole move. But I get it. In the first round, I got to give credit where credit's due. Gamrot actually showed some decent striking. Fiziev has insane balance and flexibility. It doesn't make any sense how he was not taken down by that single leg by Gamrot, because I think like 99.9% of fighters would go down, especially guys without a distinct wrestling background. Fiziev's takedown defense is out of this world because he trains a fuckload of wrestling. And he landed some big shots in the fight. This thing was just getting started. It ended before it got started. Gamrot in the second round was able to secure a takedown and garner a bit of control time. Nothing significant, but a bit. Fiziev fought up and separated and created space and was ready to strike, and then his knee blows out. So we have an inconclusive win. Gamrot obviously wants to fight Islam Makhachev. That ain't going to happen next. Gamrot. Who's he fighting next? All right. Let me see here. I'm pulling up the UFC top 15. All right. Mateusz Gamrot is ranked 7. Fiziev was 6. I mean, realistically, this doesn't make any sense, but it might be Dan fucking Hooker. You know what? If Grant Dawson runs through Bobby Green, I like the Grant Dawson Gamrot fight. If Michael Chandler's not fighting McGregor, maybe that's the fight. Arman Sarukian Gamrot 2 is not something that I would hate. I'd watch them do it again. Fiziev, it's unfortunate he's going to be out of the mix for a while because he's such a force at 155 pounds, and he's got such a fun style. Gamrot's going to chain wrestle, but you know what? Gamrot's striking looked pretty okay. Pretty good. I'm fucking shitting on him. It looked pretty good. Almost said pretty okay again. Gamrot, good performance, even though it was an inconclusive finish, and I don't like that he jumped on Fiziev after. I get it. It's a fucking fight. It's the heat of the moment. Understandable. Fiziev, gutsy effort. Even in loss, he ripped his knee apart. It is what it is. Gamrot gets the win. That was the main event. Make sure you guys smash the likes if you haven't. If you're new, subscribe. I don't know if I said that at the beginning of this main event take, but I do want to run through the picks and talk about how I did. Obviously, I lost in the main event. I picked Fiziev. I won in the co-main event. I had Bryce Mitchell over Dan Ige, regardless of how I thought it was scored. Marina Rodriguez, Michelle Waterson. I had Marina. Bryan Battle, AJ Fletcher. I had Bryan Battle. And Ramos and Jourdain, I had Jourdain. So we look at the main card, pretty solid, 4 wins and 1 loss on the main card. I won on the featured prelim with the underdog Miles Johns, and then lost with Fialho over Means, who came out like a bat out of hell, looked like a badass. DQ loss with Brundage and Malkoun here. I had Malkoun. It should have been a win. Stupid pick flip post weigh-ins. I'm not pick flipping again. Whenever I pick flip, this happens every time. Like, yo, I think something different is going to happen. Jake Collier loses to Mo Usman. I picked Mo Usman earlier in the week. Post weigh-in, I said, I'm going to go with Collier, dialing in, getting shredded. Really not shredded, but getting leaner and training harder. And I lost. So, yeah, don't pick flip. Fuck the pick flip. And then Mizuki had her over Goldy, of course. And I had Vidal over Montserrat Rendon, and that did not go my way, unfortunately. So 2-4 on the prelims, but if things were just, I would have went 4-2 on the prelims. Okay. 2-4, but with a DQ. So it could have been 3-3. If I didn't stupidly pick flip, I would have been 4-2. So realistically, the night could have been 8-3 if I would have just, got a little luckier. But that's how it goes. And instead of being 8-3, I'm looking at 6-5 for the 11 fight card. But you know what? The lock of the week hit. So I got to be grateful of that. That makes it 6 in a row. So keep your eyes peeled on my lock of the weeks because I'm dropping some heat. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the recap show. Let me know in the comments what you thought of the different look. I'm just genuinely curious. Not that I'm planning on keeping it unless like everybody absolutely loves it and says it's way better. Let me know in the comments. Much love, my people. I appreciate you all watching. If your post notifications are not turned on, please turn them on. I'm dropping content for Dana White's Contender Series, so keep your eyes peeled on the channel. I'm not going AWOL because it's a UFC off week. I still got Contender Series picks dropping. I still got the weigh-in recap show for Contender Series dropping. I still got the money line dropping. I'm still doing the Contender Series Fight Companion Tuesday. I'm going to do a live stream Thursday for sure. I'll come up with something to do Wednesday, probably Friday as well. And then Saturday, I'm thinking about doing the Canelo Alvarez Fight Companion for him and Charlo. So still content on the channel, even without the UFC fights. I'm bringing the heat every single day of the week. Keep your eyes peeled on it. Let me know in the comments what you thought of the fights. And if you have nothing to say in the comments, as always, drop a W in the chat to boost the algorithm for your boy. Much love, my people. And I'll see you all in the next one. Peace, everyone.